Welcome back to the Pre-Calculus Mastery Program. In our previous lesson, we have learned about domain and range and how functions accept inputs and produce outputs. But mathematics become much more powerful when we visualize functions. Instead of only seeing numbers, we can see behavior of a function on a graph. Graph allows us to understand how functions grow, change and move. Today, we will explore some of the most important basic functions and learn to recognize their shapes. This will help us to build strong graph intuitions, which is essential for calculus. Let's begin with the simplest type of function, a linear function. With example, f of x is equal to x. When we graph this function, something interesting happens. The graph forms a straight line. Every time x increases by 1, the output also increases by 1. So the graph moves upward at a constant rate. This constant rate of change is called the slope. Linear functions always produce straight line graphs. Now let's look at a different function. F of x is equal to x squared. This time the graph is not a straight line. Instead, the graph forms a U-shaped curve called parabola. Let's look at some values. If x is equal to minus 2, the output is 4. If x is equal to minus 1, the output is 1. If x is equal to 0, the output is 0. If x is equal to 1, the output is 1. If x is equal to 2, the output is 4, so on. Notice something interesting. The graph is symmetric around the vertical axis. Quadratic function always produce this smooth U-shaped curve. Now let's explore another important function. F of x is equal to absolute value of x. Absolute value represents distance from 0. This means both positive and negative numbers produce positive outputs. See the example here. All the negatives and positive inputs produce positive outputs. When we graph this function, something unique appears. The graph forms a V shape. The point at the center is called vertex, and the graph rises upwards in both directions. Now let's look at another type of function. F of x is equal to x cube. Unlike the previous graphs, this one creates a smooth S-shaped curve. Let's test some values. See the input x values and their corresponding outputs. Notice something important. This graph passes smoothly through the origin and continues rising from left to right. Cubic functions produce this distinct S-shaped curve. Now let's compare all four functions together. A linear function is a straight line and quadratic function is U-shaped parabola. Absolute value function is a V-shaped graph. Cubic function is smooth S-shaped curve. Recognizing these shapes is very important because when you see a graph, you can immediately identify what type of function it represents. Today we have learned how to recognize some of the most important basic function graphs. A linear function produces straight lines, quadratic function produces parabolas, absolute value produces V-shaped graphs, cubic function produces S-shaped curves. Understanding these shapes builds strong graph intuitions, and graph intuitions is essential for understanding calculus. Try sketching the following graphs by your own. Try to identify the shape of each graph. When you learn to recognize function graphs, you begin to see how mathematics describe patterns and changes. And understanding these patterns is the foundation of graphing and calculus. Thank you for learning with me today. Keep practicing, and I will see you in the next lesson.